Well, here we are. It is episode 12 of the TO SportsTalk podcast. I'm your host, James Price, along with Evan Brown. Here we go. Another week, bud.
Another week in Toronto sports. So,
and we're going to start off with the Leafs.
Right.
And obviously, Kyle Dubas been appointed the new general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. We'll get to that.
And also the Raptors firing their head coach, Dwane Casey, after, I think it was, 6 or 7 seasons?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. Me and you both know that it had to be done. And who can be the next head coach of the Toronto Raptors and with the Jays?
And we'll be talking about the Blue Jays about a quarter way into the season. They're about 500. I don't know really what to expect the rest of the way, but we'll get to that in a little bit. A lot of great Vladdy Guerrero Jr. talk. We'll get to that.
And a Granderson talk a little bit, too.
Yeah, we'll get to that later on in the podcast.
So
but like
the
I
Leafs.
said, we're going to start off with the Leafs. And as we
It was
heard,
a toss-up
as we
between
heard a
the
little
Raptors
while
and the
ago,
Leafs.
we heard Lou Lamoriello has been relieved of his duties, and he was going to be an advisor. Well, that's obviously not going to happen
That
with
changed.
Lou. We heard that he's rumbling with the New York Islanders. I didn't expect him to stay around as a senior advisor.
I did, because that was the plan. And I think he did sort of agree to that when he was hired as GM 3 years ago.
Right.
A little bit surprising, but it's not confirmed that he's going to the Islanders. Because Garth Snow, it's not like a GM position is vacant
Right.
in Long Island.
Right.
Garth Snow is still the GM. So I would love for Garth Snow to screw this up somehow and Lou stays with us, because I do not feel comfortable with... I mean, I do feel comfortable with the departure of Lou Lamoriello, but I still want him inside the organization. I would be a lot more comfortable with that happening.
Yeah, and so with
Right.
Lou leaving, somebody's got to come in. And for a few days, there was speculation who's it going to be.
Of Mark Hunter or
Right,
Kyle Dubas.
right.
But we ended up going, or Shanahan ended up going with the 32-year-old Kyle Dubas.
And this was kind of in the Shanna plan. This is what it was expected to happen. And the big question, we talked about in the last podcast, we didn't really know what was going to happen here. But remember when we mentioned in the last podcast about Mark Hunter possibly leaving? We said that.
I did hear about that. I thought you were a bunch of baloney, but
Right.
I did hear about that.
Yeah, it was like,
because Mark Hunter wanted the GM job of the Leafs.
that
He
was
did
the
want
thing,
it.
right?
He did
And
want
if
it.
Dubas got it, would Mark Hunter leave? Now, I don't think, as of right now, he's still here. So I don't know what the deal is. But Kyle Dubas has been named the new general manager. I think it's the 17th general manager.
You said 71st.
I don't know why I said that. That's too many darn people.
Right.
Right.
But just going forward,
What do you think, though? You think it's a good move?
Well, first of all, I'm surprised they did it when the Marlies were still in their Calder Cup run. I thought, and that's a very Lou thing not to do. If Lou Lamoriello was around the organization, I feel like he would wait until that's done.
Yeah.
The Marlies obviously win the Calder Cup or get out of the race.
Right.
So I'm kind of surprised they did it before then, but they did it. They announced it a little bit earlier than I expected, but I'm loving this move, because what team does not want a smart, a savvy young GM who's been around the game since he was 14 scouting.
Right.
14 years
For the
old.
Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds.
Yes, and he was appointed the GM, I think, in his early 20s of the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds.
That's crazy. Those guys are, 18, 19 years old, and they got a 20-something-year-old as their GM?
And then
It's
at
nuts.
28, he was the GM for the Marlies, and then now at 32 years old, he's the general manager for,
But the thing I like
arguably,
about...
the biggest franchise in hockey.
The thing I like about Dubas is he is a very smart guy, and he knows what this team needs. Lou, I felt like at times, and we've talked about it off air. Yeah, exactly. He was very stubborn with his players.
With these weird, kind of things, no beard rules, you can't grow hair down to your shoulders kind of thing, have the flow, right? So it was just weird what he did, but again, he's a very, very old-fashioned kind of guy, so I don't blame him for being like that, to be honest with you. But with Dubas, like you said, yes, he is a smart man, but I don't know what to expect.
Hey, only time will tell.
I don't know what to
Only time will tell.
Because
really.
what moves did he really do with the Marlies? I mean,
I'm not saying... look.
He did sign up... but to be fair, he did the Phil Kessel deal with Shanahan, because at that time, Lou Lamoriello was not in office when that happened. And so
you look at the team,
brought in
and I understand that the Greyhounds, and I know the Marlies are always good, but you look at where the Greyhounds are, right? They just lost to the Hamilton Bulldogs in the OHL final.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not saying, because he's been gone for 3 years, right? So I'm not saying that team is really him, but he probably maybe built a culture around there.
Well, he had Matt Murray as
right.
Matt Murray. Jack Campbell was another goaltender that he did trade for. But
But then you look at his job with the Toronto Marlies, and like you said, he didn't do a whole lot. We don't talk about him so much.
It's not
but he did, though.
Well, no, it's not necessarily trades. I think it's more signing guys out of Europe in college, right?
He's a very smart guy.
Yeah, look at Justin Hall.
Pierre Engvall. No one talks about him in the Toronto Marlies.
Well, he was drafted. He wasn't signed.
Right, but he was signed, though.
Yeah.
And then he signs with the Marlies, and he's tearing it up.
Yeah.
And now they're going to the third round of the playoffs.
And I think what the Leafs are going through right now, not because, I'm sorry, me and you talked about this on previous podcasts, JVR is not coming back. The Leafs are in a transition year. And for them to stack up their farm team, they need to look at players that are NHL ready, or at least AHL ready from Sweden, from the NCAA, not necessarily the CHL.
Who's the
Par Lindbaum, Par Lindholm, I think.
They signed him. I think he said Finland, or was it Sweden?
Sweden.
Right, very good defensive center.
Miro Olsen, that's another guy, right?
There's a lot of depth guys in this team, and that's where we thought Lou Lamoriello was a little stubborn on guys like Josh Levo. Why didn't you move him at the deadline? You could have got something for him.
Third or a fourth at least.
Right, but he was stubborn. He did not want to move those guys. Now, will Dubas not be stubborn? Like I said, only time will tell.
Again,
really.
I have no idea what to expect from this, but as far as I know, it was a great move, and we saw this coming. The Leafs are they always say they're very quiet. The Leafs organization, well, in the past 5 years, they're very quiet. They don't really say that much, but the one thing they say would happen did happen, and it seems like everybody's surprised about this. They said it would happen 3 years ago, and it did.
But no one really thought about it. You think Lou, Shanahan, Babcock. That's just what Leaf fans know. And then you hear that's going to change, and you're like, whoa.
People forget 32-year-old.
People forget what happened 3 years ago. And some people are like the age, 32 years of age, hasn't been in the NHL as a GM before. So a lot of Leaf fans and people are like,
but then they're comparing Mark Hunter's resume to Kyle Dubas.
You can't.
Well, no, because Mark Hunter, sure, he has a better resume. The guy's, 25 years older?
Yeah.
He's obviously going to have a better resume, but, let's just say that Mark Hunter was Kyle Dubas' age. Kyle Dubas would have the resume. He has the resume of a 45-year-old, in my opinion, or a 40-year-old, right? Yeah. Crazy, but I'm just happy that they said they would do it. Lou said he would do it, step down after 3 years. He obviously has done that. Talks with the Islanders. Nothing's confirmed. Again, Garth Snow is still the GM for the Islanders as we record this podcast, and knowing our luck, something's going to happen.
Yeah, right at the end of the podcast, right after we're done recording.
I'm happy with this move, and I'm so happy they're doing this going into the draft.
And you know what? When I did my Leaf season review video,
right,
I didn't realize how much money was coming off the table this year for the Leafs. JVR's making 4.5. Bozak's making 4.2. Plekanec is making 3. Yeah. Leo's making 2.9.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's
a lot of money.
That's why
there.
A John Tavares would not be out of the question.
Or would you go after a John Carlson? Which one would you prefer?
I would think we wouldn't go after a free agent defenseman. I think we have the assets to trade for one. And I think we sign Tavares. And we trade for a defenseman. And we can trade for a probably even top 2 right-handed shot. Or even left.
Like who? Like a Dougie Hamilton?
Dougie Hamilton, yes. Maybe somebody a little bit lesser. Maybe, I don't know, a Chris Tanev. Off the top of my head, maybe a Trouba if you can squeeze him out of Winnipeg.
Do you miss out on the top-notch possible Norris Trophy winner, John Carlson? I mean, the guy's a 60, 70-point guy almost every single season.
Yeah, but he's never even been in the race before, so I doubt he's
probably going to be there this year.
You'll get nominated.
When you're in the same category as guys like PK Subban, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
And this is his first breakout year. Is he going to become a Mike Green? I don't know.
I don't think so. He's way too talented for that. But you never really know.
Because Mike Green was in the same position. Mike Green, I think, had a similar season, and then he didn't trail off, but going from a 77-point season, or 70-point season to a 40-40, that's a big step. So I would not be.
And when I looked in the
and who's more proven, John Tavares or John Carlson? Come on. So
they're both very proven. But Carlson's been a 50, 60-point guy the last 3-4 years.
But he's not a franchise guy. And if we had Tavares, we would be better off with a Tavares than a John Carlson.
Okay, well, doing that, Tavares is going to want what, 8 to 10 million?
Yeah, like you said, there is a lot coming out of books.
It's a lot of money on the center depth, and it's a lot more money in the forwards.
Yeah,
you have less money to spend with your defensemen.
But like what I said, you have trading assets. You could trade off a big salary for, I don't know, off the top of my head, maybe. I don't know. Maybe possibly a Patrick Marleau. That's the only guy I can really think of. You bring back
winning experience, right? So it's like,
well, you obviously lose somebody, but I'm just saying, don't count out John Tavares at all.
I don't think he'll come to Toronto. I don't think the Leafs.
Well, hey, there's been crazier things that happened, but I do agree with you.
Very true.
We said the same thing about Stamkos, right? We said the exact same thing about Stamkos. Was it last?
No, that's why I'm trying to tamper these expectations, because if he becomes great, then that's crazy. But if he doesn't, don't expect it.
No,
because the odds of it happening are pretty slim. Will he go somewhere other than Toronto? Probably.
No.
I don't think he's going to stay with Long Island. They really haven't shown any good signs. They barely missed the playoffs.
It's tough because this would be a total NHL thing to happen. Everyone's hyping over, he's definitely leaving, and then I guarantee he's going to end up staying.
The difference between Stamkos and Tavares,
it's the team. I know it's
exactly.
the team. No, it's the team.
With the Islanders, they're hit or miss.
But going forward with the 2 first-rounders they have, the 12th and the 11th, that could help. No,
and Garth Snow, he's not the smartest guy out there.
No.
He's made some very bold, stupid moves.
And Stamkos signed for less money. He signed for what? 8-9 mil? He could have made at least 11. Or maybe even 12, right?
So I don't know. It's
hard to say, but I'm just kind of speculating. If they were to sign Tavares, why would they leave it? No, sorry. If John Tavares wanted to stay on Long Island, why would he wait until July 1st? So that's my
maybe he wants to test the market and see what he's worth.
He knows what he's worth. 10, 11
maybe he wants to get the maximum he can, and maybe the Islanders just didn't give him a big enough one. I don't know. We can only speculate.
It would be
a
total New York Islanders thing just to lowball him because it's the New York Islanders and it's Garth Snow.
Yeah.
But going forward with the Lou thing, it's not horrible if he does leave. I don't want him to because I always love, just his presence because,
I just think he will, though. It's my opinion.
He'll stay or go?
Go.
And you think that they'll fire Garth Snow?
Wait, what?
He'll go?
Oh, to the Islanders.
Well, where do you think he would go?
Well, I don't know. Maybe he won't go as the general manager.
Because he doesn't need the money. Role. He doesn't need the legacy.
I think there's some connection with the Islanders, though. So some family.
His son.
His son works there. So,
as a scout or something.
Maybe that could be a reason. I don't know.
Possibly.
Because he's probably at the end. He's definitely at the end of his career. So
I just think that he loves working, and he loves bringing a team from the ashes. I'm not saying the Islanders are in the ashes, but, I just feel like he just loves working and then getting teams to where they need to be.
Yeah.
Like the Leafs.
And I think,
and New Jersey.
Yeah.
He was working, right?
For sure. I think moving away from the Leafs themselves,
to the
Toronto Marlies, as we said in the last
Eastern Conference
podcast,
Finals,
they swept the Syracuse Crunch, but we didn't know who they were going to face. Well, now we know they're playing the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, the Philadelphia Flyers affiliate, and the other side is the Texas Stars versus the Rockford Ice Hogs. Game 1 goes, I think it's, this Saturday. This Saturday at 4 o'clock at the Rico.
I'm just thinking, what Leafs players? So there's only 2. There's Janssen and there's Dermott that were on the Leafs that are on the Marlies now.
I think that they've been playing crazy, though. I know Janssen has been on fire in the playoffs.
Oh, well, he doesn't look like he belongs in the AHL. I know they have Carl Grunstrom. Trevor Moore's looked amazing.
All year he's looked fantastic.
Well, no, I wouldn't say all year. I would think in the playoffs.
I'd say both. I think he's looked great in both.
Really?
Yeah. I thought he looked great in the regular season. I think he put up a 30, 40-point year, but I think because coming off a year where he was in the ECHL...
And look what signing that is. That's a Kyle Dubas signing.
Exactly.
Straight out of college.
And no one really thinks about it until he starts ripping it up, and then we're like, oh,
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy to think about, because then you go back, I'm just looking here at Andreas Janssen and his playoff stats for the Marlies. He has 8 points in 5 games.
He doesn't look like he belongs in the AHL, right?
No.
Look at...
Great to see Timothy Liljegren get an assist, though. In his playoffs, he has 2 assists in 9 games.
Hold on.
Again, he's an 18-year-old guy.
Yeah.
You can't really look too much into it. Dmitry Timashov, though, I thought he had a pretty good season. 34 points. He had the 13 goals, a much better year than last year, and 7 points in 9 playoff games.
Look at Carl.
Very good to see. He's been over in Sweden the last few years, but when he's come over...
It's funny, because he came over last year, and then he went back to Frölunda.
So in the regular season this year, he played 2 games, got 3 points. And last year's playoffs, he played 6 games, he had 4 points. This year's playoffs, 9 games, 6 points. He's been a very good player for this team.
He can maybe fight for a spot on the Leafs next year.
I don't know. He's
with all the free agents leaving.
Well, then you have other guys to come up. You got Janssen to come in. You've got, who else do I have here?
No. Well, Janssen was already in with all the free agents still with us. Bozak, JVR, somewhat Komarov. So that's what I'm saying. Carl Gruncham, Altonen you can even see next year.
We continue to forget, though, free agency. This team needs to go after guys. And I was going to mention it, and I totally forgot.
Not more wingers, because these are wingers we're talking about.
I'm not saying wingers.
Centers, yes.
With Bozak, it's center, and Plekanec as well. I saw two names in free agency that I'm like, not be a bad idea.
For
Riley Nash and Derek Ryan. Those are the two names I saw.
I would love Riley Nash over Derek Ryan. Riley Nash on the faceoff, he's the perfect. I don't know about third, but definitely fourth line center for sure.
Very good, very good player.
Yes.
You saw what he did against the Leafs. Bergeron goes down in the game and he plays fantastic.
I can't see Boston not re-signing him. I think Boston's definitely going to re-sign him, but we never know. But yes, I do agree with you there. And again, Derek Ryan, who's going on the faceoff dots.
He's right-handed too.
Well, it doesn't.
Well, Babcock loves his right-handed centers for some reason. I don't know.
I didn't know that. But free agency is definitely looming. First, obviously, the draft. It's in late June, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking at that. I forget the.
I don't know the
Swedish
exact
defenseman, right-handed shot, but
there's a lot.
All we can think is with the Marlies, and I'm just so happy they finally figured out a new GM going into the draft. Because I do trust Brandon Shanahan. Don't get me wrong, and I do trust Mark Hunter. But I would just love for the new GM to make these draft choices, to make these decisions with free agency. So I'm glad
and
they
now we're
did
going to
it.
see it.
Right.
What they did with Dubas now, he's going to go through his first full off season. Instead of going into next year with just that team.
Yeah.
And having to go through that year with that team that wasn't his.
Again,
now he's going to be able to form this team. For the most part.
I'm a little bit surprised that they did it before the Calder Cup run ended. But
I think for right now he's still the GM of the Marlies, if I'm not mistaken. It's just when the season's over, isn't it? Doesn't he switch over?
I don't.
You can't do it mid-season.
No, they announced it. I'm pretty sure
he will be the next GM. I don't know if it is right now.
There has to be an assistant GM for the Marlies, I'd imagine. They probably
whether there is or whether there isn't, the Marlies aren't going to be making any moves.
I'm just saying, so there's no point of even having a GM at this point for the Marlies.
Right. Yeah, there's no bring up send downs or anything. So that's that. Now let's get to the NHL playoffs.
Yeah.
And we have kind of been breaking it down the entire way. And a lot of our predictions went south. A lot of them.
Yeah.
Now, let's start off in the Western Conference with Winnipeg and Vegas. Now, Winnipeg came out in Game 1, and they came out flying. They scored, I think it was 3 goals in the first, 15 minutes.
You said Winnipeg in 6. I said Nashville in 7. So technically you were right, but technically I was right.
Either way, we were both partly right.
Yeah.
With Winnipeg and Vegas, they're split series right now, 1 apiece. Vegas came out yesterday in Winnipeg and quieted the crowd early.
Yeah.
That's what they had to do, and they got it done.
I'm thinking that this is Pekka Rinne's last season as
with Nashville.
I think so. I think so too. And if I were Calgary, the Islanders even, I would be calling up the phone saying, what can we do so you can retain a half of Pekka Rinne's salary and we can get him?
For 1 year, yeah.
Oh, it's for 1 year.
1 year left. That's the problem.
Because
that's
UC Soros has looked good for Nashville.
That's the thing you look at with Vegas, right? Or not Vegas, sorry, Nashville. Where
are you going?
They have 1 year. He's been with Nashville his entire career, right?
Yep.
He's got 1 year left. This team is still a Stanley Cup contending team.
Even without him, in my opinion, because he is one of the streakiest goalies in the league.
But do you trade your franchise goalie, the guy who's taking you the entire...
He's
still got it. He's still got it.
No, he has still got it, but going into the game, he need those goals, those two goals in the first period.
But you could arguably say Connor Hellebuck wasn't the greatest either in that series. Both goalies
He showed up in Game 7, and Pekka Rinne didn't. And he's getting up there in age. Do you really think he can perform? He's turning 36.
So what do you think they do? Do you maybe think they start Rinne for the start of the season? If he falters, short lease, Saros goes in.
I think they make an off-season change.
I don't know. That's a big, bold move.
Because UC Saros is a young goalie, and he showed promise. He's looked good.
In the backup role. Can he transfer that into a 50, 60 game season?
Well, you say that with any backup. An Antti Raanta. You can say that about Cam Talbot, who those two goalies have worked out. But then again, you have your Scott Darlings, who hasn't.
This year.
They overworked him. Edmonton overworked him. Everyone knows that. But as a goalie himself, he's a good goalie.
Well, you can arguably say Freddie got overworked, but he wasn't as bad as that.
No, he didn't get overworked.
He had the most saves in the entire league.
No. I understand that, but I don't think they even had a backup goalie. At least with McElhaney, he played 15 games or so, if that. But he's looked good. Edmonton doesn't have a backup goalie, so That's what I'm saying. It works out for some goalies, but then again, you have, I don't know, a Scott Darling, who, he was a backup goalie his entire life. Carolina took a chance on him, and it didn't work out, right? So, I don't know. I feel like it's run its course. It's run its course. He's not getting any younger.
So, the funny thing is, Cam Talbot played one game more than Frederik Andersen.
No. Backups I'm talking about.
I know. I'm just saying that doesn't matter backups or anything. The game's played. Freddie Andersen played less.
Well, then you have
one
to
game
look
less,
at
and he had more shots.
Well, and again, you have to look at their PK too. It was historically bad. Admit the Oilers their penalty kill historically bad. So you have to look at those numbers too. And
yes, but you also your goalie's got to make a save as well, and he did not. Why were we talking really garbage about Freddie Andersen in the first month of the season? The Leafs were scoring at will, but Freddie could not make that big save when you needed them to.
But you're comparing goalies. Frederik Andersen as a whole compared to Cam Talbot, there's no question. Frederik Andersen is the better goalie. Those two goalies being overworked, he struggles. Andersen struggles, but he's still there. Cam Talbot being overworked because he's not as good as Freddie. It shows his flaws.
There are times.
No, but I feel like it's his time's run its course because they obviously proved that they can't win a cup with Rinne.
No.
So why not trade him? It's his final deal to a team like a Calgary.
Maybe, but what will the problem is? What will the money be? Or sorry, what will the exchange be? How much will they want back for Rinne? That's the question. Will the asking price be too high?
Yeah, well,
because of who he is.
Because of who he is, but again, they have to realize it is for 1 year. It is because he's a 35-year-old goalie. Yes, he's proven.
We don't know what the asking price is. No. That's the thing I think we got to kind of forget about right now because that asking price could be through the roof and everyone's like, no thanks.
Yeah.
But it could be low, and I don't know. Who knows what will happen in the offseason. So now, like with Vegas and Winnipeg, kind of got away from that. We got to the Nashville series. But Winnipeg and Vegas split one apiece.
They won yesterday?
That game for Vegas was huge.
Yeah, because you had to win.
With that game, I think I heard a stat that if any team that has gone down 0-2 in the conference finals,
they've never won.
There's only 2 teams that have ever won.
Well, it's hard.
Especially in the conference finals when you're playing some really good
teams.
The
only thing I could see if they would have lost that game is that you're going back home for another 2, but you don't want that scenario.
No.
So, in Jonathan
Marchessault, he's been fantastic.
He's
been fantastic.
The whole first line.
Like I just said, how because like we said in game 1, Winnipeg was all over them early in the game. It was a mess, and it was just too much to come back from. They lost 4-2 game 1. But you look at the next game. Vegas got the first goal. They got the first 2 goals, whatever. But they got the first goal, took the air out of the crowd, and they scored the second goal 4 minutes apart. They took the air out of the crowd, they got their legs going, and they're up 2-0 after the first period.
And the thing is about their goal is that, who scored that?
Connor.
It
was an awful angle. That should not have gone in.
No, I'm sure to win him. But then again, 20 seconds after?
It was a minute and a half.
With another goal, yes. Yeah. He's had an unbelievable year. He's had an unbelievable year with
every
Vegas.
time that Winnipeg answered with something, Vegas fired right back.
Well, you can argue game 1. I think it was I don't know. I didn't see it, but I heard about it. I think it was Winnipeg who scored on Vegas, and it shouldn't have counted. And it did.
It was one of the goals. I think it was the goalie interference one.
But it was definitely going towards Winnipeg, which is kind of weird.
And I was kind of shocked about that, to be honest. I thought it was a goalie interference.
I'm still shocked, and I still can't wrap my head around that the Vegas Golden Knights are an actual NHL team still. Because
I can't imagine that they're in the conference finals.
They're in the Final Four.
Their D-core looks like a bunch of AHLers, but they're playing like a bunch of Hall of Famers right now.
Well, you do.
Dude, come on.
Yeah.
Like, honestly. When you look at this defense core, and you look at all the other defense cores around the league, and you see guys like, I'm just going to go through the list here. All right. I don't know him. Englund, Jason Garrison, is that Nick Hague? Nicholas Hague. Yeah. Brad Hunt, Braden McNabb, John Merrill, Colin Miller, Griffin Reinhart, Lucas Spiza, Nate Schmidt, Clayton Stoner, and Shea Theodore. Yeah. Those are all okay defensemen. But not one name that I just read that I'm like, now he's a stud.
Maybe... I mean, again, you can argue with Shea Theodore, but yes, I do agree with you. It's not, but it's working because they all have chemistry. They have unbelievable chemistry, and their speed.
Yeah, their speed is really telling.
Their speed is, but then again, Winnipeg is it's 1-1, but I don't know who can beat Winnipeg. They are on every position. Goaltending, amazing. Defense core, they have one of the best defense cores in the league.
One of the biggest defense cores. They're huge.
Bufflin.
Tyler Myers.
Trouba's, 6'3" still. Enstrom. Morrissey. They have a bunch of just big defensemen in their forward core. Dude,
yep.
I completely forgot. I think it was in game 2. Patrick Laine took a penalty. I'm like, oh, they have Patrick Laine. I forgot about him.
You totally forget about him. Yeah.
Mark Scheifele has been unbelievable this entire playoffs, but who do you have? Because this is the first podcast
I honestly have no idea. Like, this is the one series that I'm like, I have no clue. Seeing the way Vegas bottled up the Jets in that last game, you could arguably say them. But the skill, the speed, the size of the Jets, you could say them. I have no idea.
Basically, do you pick Magic over
I think
Ross?
Jets in 7. Because I think they win at home.
We've doubted Vegas this entire year, this entire
Let's keep going with it then. Keep going with it. I want to see them keep going.
Well, you just said they're out in 7.
Well, yeah, because I've doubted them the entire way. Why not keep going?
True. You know what? It's definitely going to go to 7. I think it's going to be Las Vegas in 7. The Las Vegas Golden Knights are going to be in the Stanley Cup Finals.
That'd be crazy. And I'm trying to do reverse psychology here, and play it the other way and say how Vegas is, saying they're going to lose the series, but they're probably going to end up winning the series. But who knows? Honestly, this series is so
tight. Tampa Bay taking care of the Boston Bruins. Have we gone?
I think we did. That was a mess. That was that.
Okay. So we got
Tampa and Washington. Now, I was ready to come on here and say that the Washington Capitals pretty owned the series, and that's about all she wrote.
We have the game going on in the background in the studio right now, and Kucherov just scored.
And it's 2-0 Tampa Bay right now.
What a goal. Goals by Stamkos and Kucherov. So
both guys have been very quiet in the playoffs so far. So there you go. Okay, that could be a waking up party for them. But overall, forget this game. It's 2-0 Capitals. They won both on the road. But the problem with the Capitals, you saw this against Columbus. They lost both on the road, and then they come home. Or no, excuse me, the other way around. They lost both at home. They go on the road.
It was Columbus who choked.
They won 4 straight. Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know why you're comparing it to this.
Because Washington won both on the road, like Columbus did.
I don't know where you're going.
Now they're coming home, right? Because the Washington-Columbus series, right?
Yeah, I know. I get it.
Okay,
I get it.
So then.
Yeah. No, I do agree with you there, but I think it's more it's more Tampa Bay and it's more skill. I'm not going to hold my breath right now because Tampa Bay can easily make this 2-2, 100%. Well, it looks like they're going to maybe pull off this W here, but we don't know yet. All I can say is that the one player, actually 2 players, because Ovi's Ovi, the one player, man, Lars Eller has
been stellar.
Because without the emergence, and I saw this. And I saw this tweet, actually, which was pretty funny because it was Nick Backstrom, who has not been in the lineup since, I think, Game 5 of the Bruins series.
Yeah.
And people were saying, was it him this...
Pittsburgh, you mean? You said Bruins.
Oh, Pittsburgh, sorry. Was it him holding back Ovi this whole entire time?
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, obviously it wasn't.
It's a joke, but yeah, it's kind of funny. But
what do you think about
Lars Eller?
The series?
I'm not holding my breath towards Washington at all. Yes, I am extremely happy for Ovi that he's finally made it past the second round, but it's Tampa Bay, man.
So what do you think?
I'm still going to ride with Washington, but it's going to be closer than this, 100%.
I think it's going to be Washington in 7.
I'm going to say Washington in 6. It's going to be close. It's going to be closer, but I think Washington's going to pull it off and finally get to a Stanley Cup
in 6.
6 games.
Okay.
6 games.
Right.
I was right about the Pittsburgh-Washington series, so I'm going to be hopefully right about this. But you say it's Washington in 7?
I'm just trying to go different on you because, I have some actual controversies. I could just easily say, Captain 6-2, and then there's no fun in that.
No.
There's no fun in that. But I think the Capitals will win in 7. Okay. It's now 3-0, so that's about all she wrote there, boys. That's about all she wrote. So,
and who scored that? Was it?
I don't know.
Sergachev?
It just updated on here. We'll get to that in a second. But not really much else to talk about when it comes to the hockey.
No, not really.
We went through the playoff series.
Okay, so so for your prediction, you're gonna have Washington versus Vegas in the finals.
That would be beautiful.
That'd be fun.
That'd be beautiful. I'd love that.
Would you want Ovi to win or it was Victor Hedman?
Yeah, there you go.
Ovi winning his first cup or the first expansion team in their first year to win a Stanley Cup?
Sorry, I just got an update that the Blue Jays are playing the Mets right now, and Noah Syndergaard, the pitcher, just doubled and scored the first run.
Bruh.
So that's that. Former Blue Jay, of course.
I'm just thinking if there's anything else.
There's really not much else to talk about.
Well, we know what there is to talk about with the Raptors. They let's transition, mosey on into there. Firing, I think after, I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure it's either 6 or 7 seasons with
Casey.
the Toronto Raptors.
Gonzo.
Dwane Casey's finally been relieved of his duties from the Toronto Raptors.
We expected it. We expected
change. And I don't know if you saw this, but before this season even started, they were shopping DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, quietly. That's what I heard. But they could. What I'm thinking is that they're going to do it again this offseason. They're going to be shopping him maybe even a little bit more actively. But before we get to that kind of stuff, Coach Casey, we had a feeling his time was up with the Toronto Raptors. We really saw this one coming, look, the look is on, right? We talked about it with the Leafs, about Lou Lamoriello leaving, and then Kyle Dubas becoming the new GM for the Raptors. You have Coach Casey gone, and we hear about 4 different guys that have kind of like in the looms of guys that you can look at. One is Mike Budenholzer, Jerry Stackhouse, which is a very popular decision here in Toronto.
Yeah.
Nick Nurse and Rex Kalamian, the 2 assistant coaches.
Right.
I don't think Rex has a chance in the world.
Okay, can you search up those coaches actually to see their coaching history? Because I want to kind of get into something a little bit.
Stackhouse has never coached the NBA, but obviously with the 905, he was
a player.
He was great down there, and he was a player as well.
Player with the
with Budenholzer, it's kind of hit or miss for me.
Has he coached
with him? He has not a great playoff record, and he is 0.
What team was he with?
And he is 0-8 against LeBron James, if that's any number to suggest.
What team was he with?
So, when it comes to assistant coach experience, if I'm not mistaken, 17 seasons behind Pop.
Oh,
Greg Popovich
of the San Antonio Spurs.
Right.
So
17 years.
So he was 0-8 against LeBron?
I don't know if it was in that time.
I was just going to say, because that kind of confused me, because I'm pretty sure the Spurs, they did not.
This is as a head coach.
That's
as a head coach.
And this isn't playoffs. This is just regular season against LeBron.
I think it's playoff record against LeBron James. Bottom line,
there's no way that the Spurs faced the Cavs 8 times in the finals. It's probably the regular season. But anyways, so this just proves that the firing of Dwane Casey means that they've committed to a DeMar DeRozan, possibly even a Kyle Lowry, and a JV. I'm not saying those players would all stay, but it's very likely at least 2 of them will stay next season. And I'm not too sure if I'm really fond of that, to be honest with you. I feel like there should be more change, but Masai's not going anywheres. Right? So
he was a head coach of the Atlanta Hawks when they were first place, and won the coach of the year, and they got swept by Cleveland.
Oh, it was the Hawks.
Yes.
That was Kyle Korver, Damari Carroll.
Correct.
So that was 2014.
If I'm not mistaken, that's what it was. I'm looking that up here.
That was when they beat the Pacers, and then they faced the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals.
And they got swept.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
So bottom line, he has not had very much success against LeBron James, as none of the Raptors have, period. Yeah. And he's an under 500 playoff record. So.
But I think that there needs to be more change. Dwane Casey is not enough.
No, of course. But what does that mean? Do you bring in a guy like Mike Budenholzer, which his track record in the playoffs isn't great, his regular season record's not bad.
Yeah.
But it's his playoff record, LeBron,
Or you bring in a Jerry Stackhouse,
a guy who's already in the organization,
but who's not coached an NBA team at all.
Right. So
and it's only D League.
It's very iffy. Tough thing right there. And I know Stack is a very tough love type of guy. So him with Kyle Lowry, I don't know how that would work. Maybe it will. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I would see. I think it'd pay off better. Like, it's a high risk, high reward, if you will,
high risk, high reward, yeah,
with Stackhouse. But I think if you want to get the wins under your belt, you may not get as many with Stackhouse, but it's proven this guy knows how to coach in the NBA level. Would be Budenholzer,
Mike Budenholzer, yeah,
Budenholzer. I feel like you got to go with the guy with a better track record, and a better resume. So that would be Mike. But also, now, the Bucks.
The Raptors and the Bucks are in kind of like in a bidding war towards him. The Bucks have been in a turmoil when it comes to coaches.
But see,
they've been all over the place.
Right now, this is hard for even coaches, free agents to go to Toronto after what happened with this season.
Right.
But 56 wins. 59 wins. Excuse me. Yes, I understand that.
Regular season means jack to me.
No, I
know.
If
this team got past LeBron, then yes, we look back at this regular season and say how good it was.
And you can argue the Bucks are younger. I think they are younger than the Raptors. So it's going to be tough. That's why I wouldn't be surprised if first we go after that Budenholzer guy,
right?
Mike Budenholzer, and then he declines, goes to the Bucks. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I feel like that's going to happen. And then we go with plan B, which is Jerry Stackhouse, which I wouldn't be too mad about, but a little bit eerie because he's got no coaching history with an NBA team. Straight up. So
with that being said,
but he does know the players more because he is in the organization,
and he does go on all. He's there for almost all the Raptor games, anyways. And
they won a championship with him.
Right, with the 905.
Last year,
and they made it to the finals this year. I don't think they won it, but they made it to the finals.
So if it were you, what coach would you go with?
Honestly,
or would you go off the boards?
No, I wouldn't go off the boards. In my eyes, it would be either Budenholzer or Jerry Stackhouse. I don't think Nurse or Exclamian should be the head coach of the team because they're all in the same. They should. Stay as the assistant coach or goes to be a coach somewhere else. It really doesn't matter. But for the Raptors, I think they look towards Budenholzer or Jerry Stackhouse as the one or two guys that they look at. Who do they go at Budenholzer hard? I don't know. I don't know what Masai Ujiri sees in him. But we got to look at it this way. Yes, a new coach is great. But a coach can only get you so far.
And the team around you needs to get you somewhere. And I think it's more than the coach to get you past a LeBron. Because like you said, actually, just a real quick thing before we get into this topic. I heard a couple days ago that the Raptors at the 2013 draft were trying to trade I saw that.
for the 12th overall pick, I think it was, for the Bucks, which ended up being Giannis Antetokounmpo. So that was a very interesting one there.
It happened. It's done with, and nobody expected. The Bucks didn't even expect them to get a franchise player with Giannis. So
no one really expected that.
Take it with a grain of salt.
But like you said right off the top about DeMar DeRozan quietly being shopped last year from the Toronto Raptors, and I've got to assume this year, maybe even more this year than last season, DeMar DeRozan might get shopped. Now, I'm not saying he will get traded, but I'm saying that I think they'll look around more. I think more teams will come and talk.
But like I said, I think they committed to these players with the firing of a Dwane Casey. If they didn't fire Dwane Casey, then I would expect these players to get shopped even more. You kind of get what I'm getting at here?
If we go into the next year with the same team, yes, I agree with you. But the Dwane Casey thing was just one domino to fall. What's next? Yeah. If anything. If DeMar DeRozan gets moved...
But is that the right choice? I don't think that's the right choice. I think a JV, I think a Surge is the right choice.
DeMar DeRozan is not a superstar. No. He is a good player, could be even a great player, but he is not a superstar.
Well, what would you consider a superstar? A Kevin Durant?
Right.
LeBron James?
Curry, LeBron, you can throw.
I think he's on par with Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Ooh, no. Giannis is almost averaging a triple-double a game and almost averaging 30 a game. That guy can take games over himself.
You sure?
No way DeMar DeRozan is in the same stratosphere as
Giannis. Okay, I don't know about... I would think the same stratosphere. Like, you're not comparing him to...
Look, the only thing Giannis doesn't have is a three-point shot. That's it. When he drives, the guy's money.
No, I know. But... You look at it's more than a superstar. I think it's more of a franchise player. Somebody that you can build around. We've obviously,
it's funny.
We're trying to build around DeMar DeRozan, and it's worked to a certain point because we did get to the Eastern Conference Finals multiple times. Well, 2 times, but nothing's happened. Nothing's worked.
Honestly,
right? So
part of me says it could also be coaching is a big thing because you look at. Boston won Game 1 against against Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, I understand it was in Boston. They haven't lost a game in Boston in the playoffs yet.
Not close with the 76ers. But yeah, I know what you mean.
But you look at this, and you're like, okay, they don't have Kyrie. They don't have Gordon Hayward. And they beat LeBron James and the Cavs single-handedly. But they hold LeBron to his worst plus-minus in his playoff history, minus 32.
But see, personally, they got rid of the Sixers in 5 games. I can argue the Sixers are a better team than the Cavs.
It's playoff experience. It's very... As a team, as I look at them,
well, look at Boston's playoff experience. I mean, is it really over the top?
No, it's not.
all of their guys that are stepping up don't have that much playoff experience. Terry Rozier has none.
No, but he's been fantastic.
Oh, scary area. I love him. But the one guy you could possibly say is a Marcus Smart, but even then, that's reaching a little bit.
Yeah, it is.
They're two main guys that have the playoff not really Gordon Hayward. It's more Kyrie Irving, because Gordon Hayward I don't think he's ever made a playoff with the Jazz.
I don't think so.
So it's mainly Kyrie Irving, but that's who you look for in a playoff, especially against LeBron.
So kind of like wrapping up the Raptors a little bit, because there's really not much more to talk about when it comes to
You
them.
can only speculate at this point, but do you think there's more dominoes, true, false? See, yes. I don't... Yes, there is, but I don't think it's going to be a big one.
Well, again, only time will tell.
Do you think it's going to be a big one?
It all depends on what Masai's theory is.
Well, what is his theory?
Is he wanting to revamp this team hard, or is he staying the course?
If he doesn't revamp this team hard, you're fired as a GM. There's no way you can... they're, 0-8 against LeBron in the playoffs?
In the last 2 years, they've lost 10 straight.
That speaks for itself. If Masai Ujiri, if he doesn't make any drastic moves other than a Dwane Casey, I'm talking about on the roster, you're fired, in my opinion. There's no way that you can go into this, and I'm not talking about, like you said before, you're not going to re-sign Lucas Nogueira. No. You gotta, even a JV in a surge, maybe even a DeMar DeRozan, if you can get the right package back for him.
It was funny. I was on YouTube, and I was looking up this one guy. I forgot what his name was now. He... did a bunch of mock trades, and
is it Mike Korzemba? Mike Korzemba?
I don't think so. I'm not sure exactly who I saw. Okay. I don't know what his name was,
okay.
But he put out some options. I mean, one was Andrew Wiggins straight up.
For DeMar, I wouldn't want that.
I don't know. We don't see Wiggins enough to really know. He's a lot younger than DeRozan.
He had a down year too. Wiggins had a down year.
I don't know. It's tough to say that. I saw one that was a massive deal, and I don't know how to feel about it. It was DeRozan, OG, Siakam, and was that it? There might have been one more in there for Kawhi and Rudy Gay. Now, giving up on OG that fast scares me like crazy.
See, that would be... I wouldn't want that trade at all because, like you say, if I were to trade... If I were to trade a DeMar DeRozan, I think I would want to get a package, not just a straight-up one-for-one player. I wouldn't want an NBA deal. I would want a package of young prospects and picks.
Right.
Maybe a first-rounder and
two
another grade A prospects.
It was the Phoenix Suns. Oh, God, what was it? It was Brandon Knight, Josh Jackson, and Marquise Chris, I think, was the three names that I saw.
I don't think the Suns would do that for one player.
No.
That's two of their top 5 picks. And
right. So that's
Knight.
what I saw there. Those are some of the picks that I saw. So now, guys, I don't think we're going to hit too much more on the Raptors unless you have anything else to say.
Not really. Them. If I were to trade DeMar, I would trade him for a package of players. Same thing with anybody. Well, mainly a DeMar or Kyle because those are your two main guys. And keep this team young. You build through the draft. You don't build through free agency. And that's with any sports teams.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not necessarily thinking we should do that right now. But if we were to trade a DeMar DeRozan, we should think about it. Right?
Right.
And then possibly work free agency. Because you are getting a lot of money off the board if you do trade a DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry.
Yes. But you also think about, is DeMar DeRozan's value not as much as we all make it out to be?
Oh, 100%. Because teams look at the playoffs. Not necessarily regular season. With any of these guys we're trading, they look at the past performances. So, do you really want to... You can't sell high on any of these players right now because they're not proven in the playoffs.
Right.
And I'm sorry. So, it's tough. Masai's in a tough position. Is that, okay, you might sell low on these players because they haven't had a good playoff run. Because you can't sell high on them. Washington just scored a goal.
Yeah, Washington scored Brett Conley. Look at that.
But anyways, so that's my take on it. It's too quick to tell what's gonna happen. This just happened maybe about a week ago, maybe 5 days ago.
Yeah.
But it just seen right now the Suns winning the first overall pick in franchise history. They were
honestly.
With Booker and, like you say, Josh Jackson and Chris.
Yeah, that's going to be a good look.
So they were supposed to. And the Sacramento Kings, actually, the bad luck is not on their side this time, which is surprising for Sacramento. They went from the 7th overall to the 2nd.
Good for them. They needed it.
I feel bad for the Memphis Grizzlies because they picked 4th, and they were supposed to go 2nd overall, and they need it definitely. So they picked 4th. The Hawks. I'm just thinking if anyone jumped up. Oh, the Cavs have Brooklyn's pick, so maybe you can maybe do a deal with them because we don't have a first.
Right, and I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know if Masai's gonna try to trade for any picks.
Well, we don't.
Whether
have
that be no, exactly. We have no picks at all in the draft, so it's gonna be a very interesting time for the Raptors. And there's really not much more to talk about. We can talk about the series now. The Western Conference Finals: Houston versus Golden State, and same thing. Golden State wins game 1 in Houston. Everyone's talking great about Houston. And then they lose to their
Draymond Green.
They lose to their nemesis. They lose to their nemesis.
Nemesis, if you will. Yeah, but Draymond Green did not have a good game at all. He looked lost out there.
And very early on, he picked up a technical against James Harden. Not sure what Harden didn't do anything, and then he elbowed him in the face.
But Kevin Durant being Kevin Durant,
he was nuts. He was nuts.
37 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. He was 14 for 27 shooting. What was his 3 for 6. It speaks for itself. And the bench stepped up as well. Sean Livingston, he played 14 minutes, 7 points, 5 rebounds. There you go.
Klay Thompson was great, though, with 28.
They're starting... Is this Kevon Looney? Who's he in for? Or no, did he start for the whole year? I don't even know.
Nonetheless, though, Golden State Warriors dominate. And
right. Well, with Golden State healthy,
they're scared.
They showed it in New Orleans when
they unloaded on the Pelicans.
Well, we knew Steph was coming back for the second round, so that was a wash.
Yeah.
But I think I think Houston has more fight than this.
Well,
I'm saying.
I say Golden State in 6.
Nah, I'm going off the board here. Houston in 7.
Okay, Golden State in 6.
I've rode with Houston this entire time. Clint Capella.
Capella didn't do too well.
Nope. James Harden, Chris Paul's Chris Paul. But other than that, I mean, the third string guy is Eric Gordon. But I mean, really?
No.
I'm still gonna roll with it. Houston in 7. But I think to the more interesting.
Yeah.
Because the Boston Celtics are an interesting team.
Very, very interesting.
They built their team and it just sucks. Oh, they're playing right now.
And this is why I say that Brad Stevens is the coach of the year. I don't care what any Raptor fan says.
LeBron James, 24 points in 16 minutes.
And how many points do they have in total? 49? 49. That sounds about right for LeBron. Almost half the points are just him.
There you go. Oh, Jaylen Brown have a good game. But like you say, Tatum, good.
Very good.
Jaylen Brown, very good.
Scary Terry?
Scary Terry in the last couple of games, yes, he's very good. But in the last couple of games, he was mediocre. But it's still Scary Terry. Man, I would love to see Boston knock off the Kings. Nobody wants to see Golden State versus Cleveland again for the third straight year. Nobody wants to see it.
But as Raptor fans, do you want to see Boston go on and beat the Cavs where we couldn't even win a darn game?
Yes, because
probably I do too.
I mean, I love LeBron James' legacy. I want him to get a fourth ring?
Something like that.
I think because he won two in Miami, one in Cleveland. But man, going from everyone counted them out without Gordon Hayward at the beginning of the season, they made the playoffs, the 2nd seed. Everyone counted them out when a Kyrie Irving went down for the whole playoffs, rest of the season. Everyone counted them out.
Well, everyone counted them out everyone thought they were going to get torn apart by the 76ers. That didn't happen.
Honestly, this is the last thing that Boston needs is another great sports team. But all I gotta say is, let's go Celtics. I'm rooting for the Boston Celtics.
I'd like to see it because
with the Bruins getting eliminated and the Patriots not winning against the Eagles, you gotta go with the Celtics in my opinion. And Jesus. Okay, that just updated fast. They're leading by 9.
Well, the Cavaliers are leading by 9.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on that series, though?
7. I want Boston, but I don't think it's going to be Boston.
You think Cleveland in 7? Is that what you're saying?
6.
You think Cleveland is? I I agree with you.
Remember,
I agree with you on that. Because I can't see Cleveland winning in Boston in Game 7 if it would get to that point.
I don't know.
But Game 6, I think if Cleveland takes today...
Boston Celtics kind of remind me of a Las Vegas to a lesser extent with all these injuries, with not looking as good on paper, and all these guys stepping up.
Exactly. Because we're counting them out all the time, and they keep proving us all wrong.
Yeah.
It's great to see. But I think we both said Cleveland in 6.
So it's going to be Cleveland versus Golden State for you,
again.
Cleveland versus Houston, which would be kind of cool. I just don't want to see a rematch of it. But it could happen. We don't know yet. But I'm rooting for the Boston Celtics out of any teams left in the NBA. And I think that should...
That's about all she wrote for the basketball. There's really not much else going on. There's only 2 series.
Philadelphia gets this year's Lakers pick over Boston. I don't know how that works. Oh, whatever. But yeah, I think that should be golden. Anything else you want to talk about the Raptors or the NBA or LeBron James's legacy and how Skip Bayless said that? Oh, now on Undisputed, why? Who was it? Kevin Durant is more valuable than a LeBron James.
Don't mention Skip Bayless on the podcast. The guy's a
or
joke.
Jack Edwards.
Oh
yeah, so here's a joke I wanted to get into.
Oh boy, here we go.
So
Jack Edwards or Skip Bayless?
No, listen to my joke.
Oh boy, here we go. Everyone prepare.
So Skip Bayless and Jack Edwards walk into a bar.
Oh god. Okay, that's all. That's instantly. I want to get the heck out of there. Is my first.
Didn't you finish that? No, this was a couple podcasts ago. And then what do? If they both walk into a bar?
Get the heck out of there. You get the heck out of there because it's gonna be a punch up. There's gonna be some.
It's gonna be a lot.
Oh my goodness. So, anyways, let's get away from that because that's just a complete mess and a half.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's head to the ballpark. And the Blue Jays, only one game over 500. They've been losing a lot of series lately. Have not been swept, but they've been losing a lot of series, kind of coming back down to earth. They're out now, like I said, one game over 500. They're leading right now 2-1 over the New York Mets.
Tampa Bay could pass us.
No, I still don't believe the Tampa Bay Rays are any good.
All right, we'll use their wild card, and I keep bringing this up.
Well, I said they could contend for the wild card. That's what I did say.
You said wild card.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're sticking by that. Actually, technically, we're not that.
Houston's in a wild.
Jesus Christ, Boston's in a wild card. Wow.
Maybe look at all these. Yeah, because the Yankees are 28-12, and
Cleveland's
that's the problem with our division. We have two really good teams.
Dude,
one of those teams are gonna have to take up a wild card spot.
And the AL Central is a horrible division.
The Cleveland Indians at 500 are leading the way,
bruh.
We could be leading the division right now if we were there, but we're not. For the Blue Jays, you can't worry about the standings right now. You really can't, because it doesn't mean anything.
No.
What we're seeing right now is we're seeing some injuries, and that's not what you want to see as Blue Jay fans, because we know what happened last year.
Because with the players healthy, we still struggle getting into a wild card spot, in my opinion.
If you want to hear a positive, Granderson's back from injury. A negative, Stroman's on the DL.
Well, do you want to mention the thing about Granderson?
Yeah, we could.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. How he got caught for was it Granderson?
Robinson Cano of the Seattle Mariners.
Cano. Oh, sorry.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
I thought you said Granderson. My bad.
No, not Curtis Granderson. We'll get to that in a little bit here. But for the Blue Jays, they're in New York right now, taking on the Mets for a 2-game set. And Noah, like I said earlier in the video, Noah Syndergaard has the double to give them the lead. Gave them the 1-0 lead.
Yeah,
Jaime Garcia struck out in his at-bat. Just a little update there. But for the Blue Jays, again, we haven't heard much positivity. It's been a lot of hovering. They haven't won series, but they haven't lost. It's weird.
But we don't want this to keep up, because if this Jake's team keeps, we won 1 out of the 3, whatever.
1 out of the 3 is bad because it's under 500.
Or even we win 2, out of the 3. Yes, that's good. But if
it's so early in the season that winning 2 of 3 is very, very good. Winning series is what you want to do.
Well, a wild card team needs to win 2 out of the 3 games. Yeah. But if you win 1 or maybe 2 series, 2 out of the 3 games, okay, so that's 4 wins under your belt, and that's 6 losses.
Yeah, so I mean,
that's 2 losses. But then if you win 1 out of the 3 for the next 5 series, that's not good.
Right, and that's why with baseball, you have to have a very short memory. And you got to take a win from one day to the next. They lost the series against the Red Sox, which sucks. But you have a day off, and then you head on the road to the Mets, who have not been playing well as of late, and you try and do your thing. Well, now the Jays, like I said, right now,
Syndergaard just doubled, didn't he?
Yes, but Solarte singled, and the Jays have a 2-1 lead. So that's
Weren't
great.
the Mets supposed to be this hype surrounding them? Or?
They were really good off the start. They were like 10-2 out of the gate, and they fell right into a hole, and they're garbage right now.
Cespedes, who else is on that team?
Noah Syndergaard. They have a really good rotation. Jake DeGrom. They have some really, really good pitchers on that ball club, but they're just not living up to it. And
I mean, like you said, it's so early, right?
Gosh, yeah.
We're only that are supposed to be bad and they're somewhat good, like the Houston Astros, they're going to be much better than they are right now.
Right, and they're in a wild card spot. They'll pass the Angels at some point. But that's just where they are right now. Right. Now, just a little injury update for the Blue Jays. Ledmus Diaz has resumed hitting. It was updated today. Great to see there. It was a sprained left ankle, so seeing him hit, twisting the ankle a little bit, that's really, really good to see.
Yeah.
Steve Pearce, haven't heard much about him, though 4 days ago, likely more than 2 weeks away. So Steve Pearce is a little ways away. Randall Grichuk's been out a little while since he made that crazy diving catch. But the good news, today it was updated, and he's nearing a rehab assignment, which means once he starts that rehab, he'll play 1 or 2 games, then he's back up with the club. So great to hear about Randall Grichuk coming back. And long-term Troy Tulowitzki news. That's Jed Lowry, not Brett Lowry. It's okay. I know, I see it too. Troy Tulowitzki has resumed running. And he had the right heel bone spurs, and he's actually running right now.
Is that a good thing? Because you just started running, so, I mean...
Look, he's still a ways away.
I mean, baseball's not a physically demanding sport.
The good news is that he's moving. Yeah. He's getting going. It's good to see from him. And Marcus Stroman, guys, probably the one player that we're all like, we want him back, but we want him healthy.
But when he is somewhat healthy, he hasn't been good this season.
But he hasn't. I don't think he's healthy. Because he went.
You didn't think he was healthy during the start of the season?
He had the right shoulder strain or whatever it was, or the inflammation in the spring.
Right. Okay.
And then he started the season. We're like, okay, he's all good to go. Doesn't pitch well. What does he go on the deal with? Right shoulder fatigue.
Oh.
That tells me that it's not 100% healthy, and he's not as good to go as we all thought he did.
Yeah.
So he's still in the DL. Real no new update on him. But for the Blue Jays. Again, they just look to string some wins together. Garcia isn't doing too bad today. It's only been 2 1/3 innings, though, obviously.
So what do you think the main issue with this, last 10, 3-7, with this team is right now?
Starting pitching. The bullpen has been fantastic.
Let's put
it into perspective here. A really good ERA as a bullpen guy is 3. Anything just above, even 3.5 is still pretty good. Anything 3.5 or less, you're doing pretty good. Anything below 3, you're having a pretty good season.
Well,
and
last
John Axford,
we were talking
the Canadian,
about
his ERA is 1.3. He is fantastic. And then you go to, who else? Tyler Clippard, another guy, 1.23. These are all-star caliber numbers right here.
But
that I'm seeing. Now, will they keep it up? I don't know. That's just... They're getting overworked in my eyes. And then you look at my great buddy Aaron Loop at a 3.86, which I'm still shocked at how he's still going there. Seng-Won-Oh, another guy, 1.45 ERA. The Jays have 3 guys right now who could win ERA titles. I'm not saying it'll happen, obviously, because it's not going to happen. But I'm just saying, the way they're pitching so well.
But see, these guys can only do so much.
Exactly. You do not want to overwork them too much. And right now, they're getting overworked because the starters are not getting too deep into ball games. That was kind of a look for Jaime Garcia today. Can they get a good look from Jaime? Can they give him 5, 6, 7 innings from him? Well, great news is they've got 2 2/3 out of him right now.
Ooh.
But, I mean, that could change at any point with a big inning. But
not too much to talk about. You just have to string the wins in with the struggles with this team.
The crazy thing about baseball, a team could be red hot, and you could be facing a down-to-garbage team.
And then you just play to the level.
Exactly. You look at the Boston Red Sox against the Blue Jays. They came out and they beat the Blue Jays in the 2 games. They played better. They had the better pitching.
Yeah.
That was that. They're playing Oakland right now, and they're down 3-0.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Oakland is a sub-500 team.
Right.
They're one game that they are like the Oakland Athletics as years prior.
No, but they're still the Oakland Athletics, and they are still the Boston Red Sox. It shouldn't be happening.
No.
Right? And that's what you look for when it comes to that sense, right? So, for the Blue Jays, there's really not much more to talk about. I want to briefly talk about the prospects. Bo Bichette kind of come back down to earth. He struggled a little bit. Yeah. He was in 260-something last time I saw. Great news, though. Yesterday, he went 3 for 5. He's up to 270-something now. And Vladdy Jr., for goodness sakes, like we've said before, any time a batter can hit over 300, you're an all-star. 300, you're an all-star. Yeah. But he's hitting 405.
Bruh.
He's 19 years old.
And
he's hitting balls off hotels.
But you see, as young guys like a Bo Bichette, that they come back down to earth, and he is going to come back down to earth.
Oh, he won't be hitting 405 the entire season. Yeah. There's no question about that. But what I'm saying is, this guy is an elite hitter. The reason they haven't called him up, they want him to get more reps in the field.
Right.
He made his 6th error of the season last night at third base. Now, again, those are things he cleans up. Bo Bichette, great hitter. Defense, maybe not so much. That's why you want to groom them.
But that just cleans it up. Yeah,
you
exactly.
want to clean them up.
And with most young players, it's all about offense. Defense comes later.
Right, and I'm very proud, but seeing Vladdy hitting 405, I mean, my goodness.
No, it's nuts. It's crazy.
That's ridiculous. One of the best hitters in the game for the major leagues hits 320 or 330, but he's hitting 405. It's crazy. But, I mean, like we said, he'll come back down to earth, have a bad week, and he'll be hitting 320, and he'll be like, that's more like it. Right. But, hey, for the Blue Jays, you got to take it day by day. Hey, look at that. Jaime Garcia went through 3 innings now, so that's good to see there. But, for the Blue Jays, you just kind of got to take it game by game.
We always say this.
Because really, it's a long season. With hockey, it's like you have 82 games. And you go through a terrible week, you lose 4 or 5 in a row, that could really hurt you. Losing 4 or 5 in a row here it does hurt, but it won't kill your season. Yeah. So that's why you got to take it game by game and series by series. But for the Blue Jays, look, they're all right. We're doing okay. All right, so you know what, guys? We're going to have the podcast questions here. Kind of a shorter podcast here. Not so much. Well, shorter than the last one. That was almost an hour and a half, the last one. But who we got? Who we got for the podcast here? Who we got for the podcast?
Okay, so we got good old Michael,
what's going on, bud?
No, he asked when the podcast coming out.
Okay. Well,
I actually replied to him. Yeah, right now. It should be out latest 12 p.m.
No, it'll be uploaded earlier than that.
11, 12?
I'm not too sure exactly. But
okay.
Steven
W.
He's always on here. What's up, bud?
4208. All right. What do you think big free agent players like Paul George avoid coming to Toronto because of the cold weather and going through customs?
I don't think that would really matter.
Did you say that? No.
I think the contract might be a bit of a problem for the Raptors right now if they don't make any crazy moves. But a guy like Paul George is what this team would want.
Well,
will it happen? It won't be the cold. It won't be the cold.
Is Indiana really that much warmer?
It won't be any difference. It won't be a reason why he doesn't come here.
And this is for every free agent that comes to Toronto. Before this even happened, the actual city of Toronto was looked at as a prime destination for coaches, players, staff. But after this specific run, I don't think really anybody wants to come here, and I don't blame them. A new coach may help, and I wouldn't, it's hard to say, but no, it's definitely not because of the cold or customs. Yes, customs and getting a whole new visa, it's definitely a drag. Yeah. But I don't think that's definitely the reason.
All right, what else we got, Steven?
Stephen W. Second question: if you are the GM or Masai Ujiri, what would you do after the firing of Dwane Casey? What do you think Masai will do? Thoughts on the Western and Eastern Conference Finals? We kind of discussed this. We already went through
that kind of stuff, Steve. Yeah. No worries about it, bud. Thank you for the question.
Thank you for the question. Okay, Brooke. She's been around.
She's been around quite a bit here. Yeah, what's going on?
Awesome. Okay, so the Jays with their DH who can't hit. Are we talking about Morales?
Oh, I think we're talking about Morales. Yeah, I mean, Morales is a complete mess. He's awful. I mean, he's awful. You throw this guy a curveball at any point in that bat, he looks stupid. That's why he's not playing anymore. He's on the bench. He's coming off the bench. And when he plays, he's awful.
But see, coming from Kansas City, he's a 25, maybe even 30 home run kind of guy.
Right.
What happened? It's not age.
He had that last year, but we didn't realize how many holes in his swing there was. And playing in the really good American League East,
but it is still
we're seeing
early.
The holes in him. No, he was awful last year. He's not going to be good this year. Okay. The contract is not good enough.
So it's a dead contract.
Yes.
And we're signing for
another year after this. And then that's it.
It's okay. So
it's not too bad,
it could
but it's
worse.
Not great.
Yeah.
So we got.
All right. Well, thank you, Brooke. So Michael,
last one.
Michael again. Yeah. So if you can get rid of 2 players on the Jays right now, who would you choose? That's actually a good question.
Well, I mean,
get rid of for free.
For Morales.
All right, well that's one.
The guy's dead.
Okay. You sure that you?
Yeah.
That you wouldn't want to keep him for me?
No, I really wouldn't.
All right. Grichuk?
I don't know. I know what Grichuk can do, and that's the thing that scares me, right, about Randall Grichuk. I don't know. I can't pick a second player. I know Morales is dead to me.
Pick the second player.
Jeez.
Come on, don't say you can't.
But then I'll be here all day then if I have to choose this. Okay, Steve Pearce.
Steve Pearce. Really? Because
his bat's all right, and I like he has had a good year offensively so far, but his defense scares the living snot out of me. He's got no arm. No thanks. But I think that's gonna wrap it up, though. Podcast questions done. A little bit of a shorter podcast. We got through everything we wanted to talk about.
We promised that last week was going to be the last late podcast.
This was your fault this time.
This was my fault. I had to do a couple errands. Me and you both work full-time jobs. So next week, Tuesday afternoon, 100%. It's going to happen, you guys, because Thankfully, it's only, 9:45? It's almost 10 o'clock. Last time we almost finished, it was 10:30.
Yeah, no thanks.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. All right,
so podcast was low.
Thank you guys for all your support throughout the first 12 episodes.
Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to his main channel. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to the podcast channel if you guys want. Subscribe to us on iTunes.
Link is in the description for that too, guys.
Go check that one out. And thank you guys for listening. And you'll speak to them tonight.
I'll talk to you guys tonight. Jays edition as the Jays look to beat the
who I think this is the shortest podcast we've ever done. Or no, there was maybe one that was about an hour or so.
Yeah, it feels like
less.
But I'll
maybe 55 minutes.
But I'll talk to you guys tonight as the Jays take on the Mets in Game 1 of that mini 2-game set against the New York Mets.
I'm just thinking because Leafs and Jays, I think that'd be what, draft for both of them?
You mean Leafs and Raptors?
Leafs and Raptors.
Yeah, I think that's really what we're going to look at in the next podcast, right? So thank you guys so much for listening. We all appreciate it. We love you guys. And Evan and I will talk to you guys next Tuesday afternoon.
Peace.